talking to carriers and asking what they would be looking for in like an ideal, people on their staff.
The more you do it, repetition is key. That's what makes you a stronger adjuster. Okay, we don't have a crystal ball, but we're looking at our bottom line. Okay, then make those adjustments accordingly.
Matt's wife complains that he doesn't buy her flowers. In all honesty, he didn't know she even sold flowers.
The #1 resource for damage identification books, trainings, and certifications is Hague Education. Not only that, but they provide building inspection and desk adjuster trainings and certifications for those as well. Get a discount on all books, tools, certifications, and other trainings with code AdjusterTV at checkout at hagueeducation.com.
Some things we think of as creating a replacement when in reality it's creating job security.
Yeah. So I think, what I feel like I'm hearing out of this, and I think this is probably true, like probably the adjusters, independent adjusters, whether they're field or, well, maybe just the role in general, probably where they want to be a good milestone would be to find their way into doing daily claims.
Yes.
Property claims, because those are going to be, you're going to have a lot more responsibility. In a lot of cases, you're making a coverage decision, you're negotiating with the contractor, you're writing the estimates, you're doing the whole 9 yards.
There is more detail.
Yeah.
And
those are usually bigger claims because it's water and fire and
can be.
I mean,
Yeah.
But I don't know. Do you feel like CAT is it going to be only photo and scope and desk, or is there still going to be guys that go out?
No, I think there's always going to be a need to go out. Yeah. And this goes back.
Well, I mean, that just run the whole. Yeah, they're able to like hand the homeowner a check.
Yeah, so and you'll have carriers that will resist the check component. Okay, I'll work for both. It doesn't matter. But if you know what you're doing and you've honed your craft over time, there's always going to be opportunity for you. Always.
Yeah.
There's there are a lot of property carriers in the United States.
Right.
We talk about some of the big ones doing big things, and that's fine. You understand they have to do that out of necessity. If you've got 50,000 insureds damaged in one catastrophic event, and remember, let's say I'm in Florida, and in Florida my losses could be hundreds of thousands, and then I'm competing with other carriers who are also having the same experience. There are not enough adjusters out there, so I'm looking for ways in which I can minimize that. And desk adjusting, scoping, AI, there's some tools now in the toolbox for a company that they can get that claims process work quickly.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. This just occurred to me. What advice would you give to an educator or somebody that runs a school or a training program for independent property adjusters to make sure that the training that they're what they're teaching is relevant to what's happening, what the need of the IA firms and the carriers are, so that we're not kind of like, and I'm asking on behalf of myself,
sure,
and other trainers that I know.
So and that's a really good question. We don't focus. We tend to always focus on what we know and not what the industry needs. And so from an education standpoint, it is always good to maybe canvas a few of carriers that that your IA firms target, and say, hey, we're training adjusters. What do you feel is lacking even from your staff? And I work with carriers all the time that they rotate their staff, and our staff end up working and help train their staff. It happens, and that's because carriers actually have as big, if not bigger, turnover than what you see from the IA side.
Oh boy.
They will have things that they do internally that just shake up their staff, and they'll jettison them. But those people, because they have training from a carrier, can convert into the IA side, or actually can find readily employment with another carrier pretty quick. You do get gluts in the market from time to time. You'll have Big Red and some others will lay off big chunks of people in the regional offices, and that can be nerve-wracking or a shock for about 6 weeks, and then those people are either absorbed up by other carriers, or they go into the IA realm, and things work out. that's okay. You're always going to have that, no matter what corporate event you see or what other industry, you're always going to see some type of either layoff or realignment within that industry.
Oh yeah, for sure. We saw that last fall.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
we saw it this spring, and then you had all these hailstorms, and they're like,
Dang it! What did
it
we
happens.
why did we do that right before storm
and
season?
then you see it right before the hurricanes hit.
Yeah.
There was a huge layoff at a couple of carriers, and they're like, okay, we don't have a crystal ball, we can't, but we're looking at our bottom line. Okay, they make those adjustments accordingly.
Yep.
So it happens. You see cycles in the insurance industry that people tend to repeat themselves, and so what was a bad idea 10 years ago will sometimes, hey, we should try this. Oh my gosh, we did this before, but okay, let's do it again.
It cycles. It definitely cycles. I've been doing it as long as I've seen this.
Yeah, so you've seen the cycles. So there's quite a few that can be, hey, that's a great idea.
Yeah,
You just
right.
okay,
Yeah, they're all their staff turned over and their upper management all turned over, and they got a new CEO. They're like, hey, let's try this.
Let's try this. Okay. No.
History doesn't necessarily repeat itself, but it rhymes.
It rhymes, So yes, I'm a big history, but I like history. So yeah, people that don't pay attention to history doesn't repeat it. So
Yeah,
and the insurance industry is rife with that.
Oh boy, yeah. So and so it's like kind of sticking on that advice for trainer stuff. So talking to carriers and asking like what their staff is looking, what they would be looking for in like an ideal, people on their staff.
Yeah. So what are their needs? Did they need more policy training? Did they need more scoping identification? Do they need more help within the technology? Technology is one of those things, estimating, that sort of thing. There are lots of resources out there, and it's learning how to utilize those resources and paying attention to it. And the more you do it, repetition in our industry is key. Because that's what makes you a stronger adjuster. But we talked about policy earlier. A lot of coverage. I've been in the business a long time, and when I'm talking about policy or an insurance policy, or just let's say you have a loss, I'm never going to discuss your policy with you without having it in front of me.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And so it's a huge, this is not covered. Well, this endorsement says it is. Yeah. So, and there are, that's why you, or this endorsement says, oh, this is covered. Well, this endorsement says it's not.
Right.
You may have an ACV endorsement. Well, you just paid replacement cost on everything. That's a big problem.
Yep. And
especially if you gave them a copy of the estimate and you bound the carrier already. And so you get into some problems. So, one of the things about, I would think some of the focus would be accuracy in what you're scoping, knowing how to scope. Look, is what I'm looking at really damage, or is it something that's occurred over time? And
right.
how does that affect the coverage? So I can look at a water leak, and I've had other industry professionals will argue with you, how do you know that didn't occur all at once? Well, I can look at the deterioration in the item and see that didn't happen all at once, because I know that the item takes time to degrade. And if we're talking, engineering qualities of, say, lumber or treated wood, those things don't disintegrate with one occurrence. No. They occur over time. And so technically, every occurrence has a deductible applied. And when did the first occurrence occur? Did it occur during the policy period, or did it occur some other time? So therefore, what I'm looking at is probably not covered. But I have to know that.
Unless you're in a state where they got to pay for hidden damage. They're like, well, we didn't know.
Well,
there's some states and there's some policies.
There are policies that cover that. And see, that's why you don't go out and say, this is not, this is, without having that backup.
Yeah, exactly.
So one of the, we talked about, again, going back to policy, it is a weak point. People, they become an adjuster and they really know how to scope, but they don't know how to interpret a policy. If I give them a cheat sheet, which gives you all the little shortcuts to what you look for, and if you don't know how to read it and you don't know how to read the policy, I and you have just wasted a bunch of time.
Yes.
And so
time is money.
It is.
So important.
Very, very much so. Because the quicker I can close the claim file, the quicker I'm going to get paid.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, I mean, the longer the file stays open, the more expensive it gets, and not just because necessarily what the payout is, but because it's resources and people are being dedicated to focusing on something that should have been closed
rapidly.
The first time, and now they're being pulled off of other things, and so it starts to. It's like you said, it's, for lack of a better word, it's a waste of resources and time.
And so the carriers are looking to always optimize that.
Yeah. And
so as an IA firm and as an adjuster, I want to help that process. As an IA, we have a unique fiduciary responsibility. We represent the insurance carrier, but we also look for the interest of the insured as well. We're not public adjusters. Yeah. We're not sitting there trying to be argumentative, but it is our duty to make sure that we give an accurate scope and accurate estimate. And, I always say, don't make a carrier pay more than they owe. The carrier should pay what they owe, no more or less.
Right.
To the, per the conditions of the contract. And
it's a contract.
It is a contract. And it's not a warranty. It's not. It doesn't catch everything.
It's not remodeling insurance.
Yeah, it's not a remodeling policy. Oh, I want to do this. It's going to be better than it was before. But that's not what the insurance contract covered.
Right.
It's supposed.
You had this cheaper thing.
It's
back. You put the new thing on. We'll insure that.
But sure, but it's it's better than pre-loss condition. You're putting them back into pre-loss condition. Yeah. Well, it was terrible before. Well, that's why I owe you to get it back to what it was. Not what it could be.
Learn why AI might help you make more money in this next video right here.